Hey everybody, welcome to Snow Talk. This is Wave 3 News meteorologist Brian Good. A lot of talk about what's happening so far today with the snow flurries and some sleet in the region. So, has anything changed? Quick answer to that is not exactly. Locations may have to be adjusted, some amounts may have to be adjusted, but it's important to note this is not a major winter storm heading toward Kentucky. Alright, this is a wet snow event, this is a manageable event. But it's more of a festive snow more than anything. It's just a matter of determining who's going to get what exactly, and we're trying to be as accurate as we can on this with this type of a setup, and it's very, very challenging. It's a couple degrees and a couple of miles make a huge difference in the forecast, but we're putting all our minds together and we're trying to come up with all the data, and here is the latest thinking. Before we get to that, as always was the case, the stats. Look at last year though. Yeah, almost a foot. Our average for a winter season is 12.5, so at this point last year already we're close to average, and we're way, way below that. And we have chances though. I'll get into that later. Well, let's get to it now in fact. Here is the board. Tonight, 1 bar because some areas could get some accumulating snow. Sunday night and Monday, we'll talk briefly about that. I'm not going to get a chance to get into the Super Bowl system and groundhog system. It still looks interesting. It looks more northern stream dominant though, which still has a snow chance with it, but maybe not an organized phase storm. And then the 6th to the 9th as a chance for another wave to come through the southern stream. So I'm getting a half bar for now until we get more data. But it's getting active, it's getting colder, so it's getting busy. That's the point as we head into February. Today as well. Cloud cover, it's locked in. We had a few hints of sunshine around Frankfurt this morning, but that's out of here now. I see clouds very, very dominant. You can see some ripples where there is a slight enhancement of the clouds and the cumulus passing through the area. Here's the radar. It's reading, well, the image kind of goes out there toward the end as we have a little bit of a glitch. But you can see overall, it's not picking up a lot of the flurries that are out there, but there are some flurries flying around. And we're seeing that rain-snow mix and some sleet, mini sleet reports here to the south where the system's on the borderline. You know, these radars, they can determine rain and snow and sleet and freezing rain by the colors you see there, the green, the pinks, and the blue. But we can also use what we call the correlation coefficient, which really helps us in determining where we can pick up on snowfall. And it's hard to see this image right now, so I apologize. Let me try to advance it to where you can see. There we go. What we do here is we see the color uniform. That means the shape and the size of the particle that's falling from the sky is the same size, so whatever it is that's falling is the same. So this would likely be all flurries or all drizzle. When you get into the lighter colors, it tells us that it's more of a mixed scenario. You get more different shapes going on. So there's probably more sleet in this area, probably more flurries falling here, and probably a little sleet falling west of Litchfield, and that's pretty much about it. But we use this a lot to determine precip type. And overall, I don't see anything significant going on because temperatures are above freezing. So here's the overall setup. Surface low is tracking through southern Georgia. Here is the upper low, though, that is now moving through northern Mississippi. It's got it's elongated trough behind it, like a long comma head, if you will. This is going to catch up, though, to the upper low itself and then eventually pass through Kentucky. The surface low is going to head up the eastern seaboard and become a more phased system that is going to deepen and give them a bigger snow. For us, locally, what we're looking at is what's happening in Tennessee. This is likely going to be the deformation zone right here that's going to form. So if we were to track that and lift that to the north and northeast, it would take it mainly across Bowling Green, E-Town, Frankfurt, and Lexington would be the main core of that, with the northern edge stretching right along the river itself. And the southern part may be more of a break at times, so not as organized. So in other words, the main focus for an accumulating wet snow, based on the radar trends, looks to be more of an angle like this. And even then, we're only talking about maybe an inch, maybe inch and a half in some cases, of wet, grassy accumulation that could fall. Here in Louisville, there could be a light coating out of this. Trends are to get it closer to the river. And there could be some wet snow accumulations closer to the Louisville area. Indiana overall is going to miss out on this. And eastern Kentucky is going to be mainly a rain event for a while, but the cold air will catch up, and then you guys will get the last of the snow accumulating late tonight versus the evening hours to be mainly, again, focused right here in central Kentucky. Now, temperatures. We've warmed up to 38 now. Nashville's been holding steady around 36. We're going to rise maybe another couple degrees to around 40. Once we get the rain to move back in, I think we'll fall backwards into the middle 30s, if not lower 30s at times. You see our area, for the most part, yeah, Campbellsville's 32, but 32 with warm ground, so no driving issues with that. Most areas you can see they're into the 30s and shouldn't really move a whole lot for the remainder of the afternoon. Okay, let me show you several short-range models and kind of explain what we're looking at. Here is the RPM, our in-house model. It is bringing in the second surge from Nashville around 5, 6 o'clock. It is showing snow. I think this is going to be sleet, maybe some snowflakes, but rain and sleet mix moving in from the south as we head into the rush hour period. By the time we head into after rush hour, early evening, just after sunset time frame, we get cold enough that we start to get that wet snow to mix in. See the darker blues? That's where you're going to get the heavier burst of bigger flakes that come down. And on grassy areas, even at 33 and 34, snow can stick to grass and to rooftops. It doesn't have to be 32 degrees. If it comes down hard enough, it will stick. And we'll see that potential in that zone. Here in Louisville, it depends on how hard it falls. If it falls too light, it'll melt instantly. If it falls heavy enough, it'll turn the ground white briefly. Precip rate is key on this. But I have to stress, with temperatures again just above freezing, we're not expecting a lot of problems with this, just wet roads. And once the snow rate eases off, whatever is falling begins to actually start to melt around the area. You hear the water dripping in the gutters in the house probably as soon as the snow stops. And then after 1 o'clock in the morning, it starts heading off to the east, and temperatures at that point do drop enough. There could be some slick spots. It could develop towards sunrise if we get into the 20s. Otherwise, warm back up quickly when the sun comes up on Friday. So, what is the RPM showing for snowfall? It's given about what we're thinking here, half inch potentially along the river. I wouldn't rule that out in grassy areas. Best chance to see that 1 inch total, maybe inch and a half, is going to be in this zone here between E-Town, Lebanon, Shelbyville, maybe Shelbyville, Frankfort, and Lexington. That is the zone that the heavier snow burst potential will be. Not everybody will see the same amount in that zone. Some of you will see just enough to barely cover the ground. Some of you will get an inch and a half. And it's going to be that spotty, and I can't stress that enough. When you get to details that small of neighborhoods, it's very difficult to say who's going to get what. You're going to get this, you're going to get that. We don't know exact details like that. We can just give you a general idea of the best zone for that to happen, and that's what I'm mapping out here for you. Eastern areas will catch up later on the way it's looking. Here is the rapid refresh model. A lot of you know this as the HRRR. As we get into this afternoon, this is roughly right around the 5 o'clock time frame. You see that surge out of Nashville area, the Tennessee area moves north. See that starting to mix in with sleet near E-Town at that point. Then as we head into 7 p.m., that's when we start to see it mixing in with the wet snowflakes, some sleet off to the south because precip rate is key. It looks cold enough here to get some wet snow. Temperatures above freezing, but some grassy accumulations could start. Looks scary, I know. This is about 9 o'clock tonight. Looks like just a winter storm, but not exactly. It just really is sensitive on the idea of the heavier burst of wet snow located here and more spotty in nature on the backside, including Louisville. And you see the sharp cutoff to it once you get into Indiana. And then it starts about 1 a.m. pushing off to the east. And it's given overall, it says close to an inch, maybe in Louisville. That may be on the high side. And a better chance for an inch and a half. It's even saying close to 2 inches in the bluegrass region. The elevation's a little higher, actually, in this area of Kentucky. So you actually have a better chance to get accumulations almost every system in the bluegrass area because of your elevation compared to Louisville. But that's the general zone that it's aiming for. But notice what it does. The coldest temperature it takes us to for the overnight, it's right around 34 degrees through most of that. So that's what we're talking about, not many issues. And that may keep the Weather Service mission advisories, to be honest with you guys, because impact on the roadways may not be that big a deal, but it's their call. They'll make the decision on how they feel, because slush could be slick in some locations on untreated roads. The Schreff model, which is a member of, it shows different ideas, a lot of different ensembles, all right? It is, the black line is the average of all of them, and it's given an average of about a half inch. It's still got this one model that's been going crazy for the past several days. It's showing about 3 inches of snow. It's the outliner still. The average is still roughly about a half inch, and that looks to be reasonable. Other models real quick. The NAM model, it tries to still focus the main snow band mainly south, lighter on the river. It's close to the idea. It's not, I don't think it's spot on, but it's close, and it may be a little too high in these totals of 2.4. You'd have to get almost every flake out of the system to get the 2.4. And I don't think it's going to be all flakes. I think it's going to be a mix of sleet at times and rain and then snow. So you've got to keep that in mind. You can't go exactly what the models are saying here. You're going to have to cut down on some of this mentality of the heavier snow you see on these models that show up. Here's a GFS. It's a poor resolution model anyway, but it's all over the place with snow totals. And then the bigger story overall, though, is going to be after the system goes by. We do warm up this weekend and parts of next week, but a lot of cold air is coming up as we head into February. All right, Kevin Harnett and I are going to go over all the issues as we head into this afternoon, this evening. We'll have much more coming up today at 5 o'clock, and we'll keep you updated on social media as well. But I stress again, not a major storm, but a more festive snow for some tonight.